Welcome to the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast.
Hello everyone, this is Jefferson Scott with What's Happening Birmingham. Today I have the honor and pleasure of being with Ms. Kathy and Alexis. She is running for Jefferson County District Court Place 10 on May 24th, 2022. Kathy, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm looking forward to talking with you.
Okay. You all know I love interviewing people that's running for office, especially people that's running for judges, because 9 times out of 10 we're going to run into these people at some point, or our loved one will come in their courtroom, and it's so great to be in the courtroom today, especially not in trouble. But so let me first off, so why are you running for judge?
I got to the judge, I would say, in a non-traditional way.
Mm-hmm.
After 20 years of being married, I found myself homeless with 2 children with my law degree. I had not passed the bar yet. And so when we went to court, I got a ruling that definitely was not favorable, definitely wasn't helpful, because I had the law degree. And so the judge went off record and made some statements to me about what I could do, work at Burger King and do other things. But when the case was over, I got very little alimony. I still had 2 children, one that was in and out of Children's Hospital with Crohn's, another one with a learning disability. And when the judge went home, he went home to his home that night, and I went home to a car. And so it was not easy to be able to do that. And I made a vow to myself, to my kids, and to God that said if I ever got a chance to make a situation like that better and different, that if I had been the judge, I would have asked a few more questions. I don't expect anybody to fix everything, and the judges can't wave a magic wand and make all your problems go away. But I always said that I wanted to do better. I wanted to be able to really understand where the litigants are coming from. So I have the unique experience of actually standing where they've stood, standing in food lines to feed my kids, not having insurance for myself, for my kids, and actually saying, you know what, if I get a chance to run for judge, I've actually been in those places where the litigants that would come in front of me, should I get this opportunity, and I understand where they're coming from. I understand the complexity. We have COVID that brings a whole new set of challenges, but I feel like my education, my background, my personal experiences make me uniquely qualified to be able to have this seat.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. You know, I always like to start off with, other than the question why you're running for judge, let's connect the dots, where you grew up and who your cousins and where did you go to school and all that.
I actually
Where
grew
you
up
go to church?
originally. I actually grew up in New York City, so I'm a transplant, and I came down here with my ex-husband to go to law school, and his job was down here. I was going to school and didn't know that I would still be here, but I know that I'm planted here for a reason. So my home church is Faith Chapel Christian Center in Wylam, but friends and all of that, I have friends at different churches all over the state of Alabama, all over Bessemer. Went to school and went to undergrad at John Jay College, was able to graduate magna cum laude, went to law school in 2 places. So I started off at Cumberland, didn't finish there, went to Birmingham School of Law, did get my JD, and then went back to school at Thomas Jefferson and got my LLM in tax and finance. And so that is my educational background. And I also did a course last year in 2020 at Harvard as well on women in leadership. Oh
wow! So, in place 10, the what you're running for?
Yes.
What type of cases will you be hearing?
It's a dual docket place. So the majority of it is actually going to be domestic relations, but there's also a small claims and a district court component as well, and that's normally held on Thursdays. So I will hear 2 categories of cases, but the majority would be actually domestic relations related. Okay,
so when you in this courtroom, you're going to be hearing making a lot of big decisions. Yeah. What's some of the biggest decisions you made in your life?
In my life, I think the biggest decision I had to make was how I was going to not have my kids mad at me and not be ashamed, and to get past that shame of being homeless and us not having what we had. So I took the last $500 check I had from my alimony, and I enrolled in boot camp, which I believe allowed me to pass the bar. I also made the decision to work 3 jobs to get us out of the situation that we were in. So I worked at US Pipe, UPS and did security all at the same time, sometimes on the same day. And I wanted to send a message to my kids, even though we were down, we were not out. And so and if you want to get out of a situation, you got to work hard. And I wanted to, it was funny, I got really sick during that period of time and almost died. And my doctor said, why don't you just stop what you're doing? I said, no, if I keel over and die, I want the kids to see me studying, and I want them to see me working. So I think that was the hardest decision. That's actually harder than running for judge, because that involves my kids. And when they looked up at me and said, Mom, why is our house a house of struggle? They don't care about how much education they had. They cared about what was Mom going to do to get us out of this situation. And so the hardest decisions I had to make was to get past my fear. People laughed at us. They laughed at me. You know, you go from one standard of living to a whole different standard of living. And I had to push past all of that. And I was at US Pipe jumping up on trucks, and I was studying for the bar. And when I would work security, I was working municipal court at night, 5:30 to 7:30, and I was still going to work and doing security late at night. So those were some of the hard decisions I had to make, because you're not with a big firm. You know, nobody's coming to you and saying, hey, let me hand you this, but I work for everything that I've had. So those were some of the hard decisions that I had to make to let my kids know we're going to have to work hard to get out of this.
So how will you take those unique experiences and bring them to the courtroom if you're elected?
The way that I look at it is, when people come to court, whatever court it is, it's normally one of the toughest, worst situations they've ever been in. And especially in this place, this position, primarily divorce court and even small claims and district court, people have lost something. My undergrad is criminal justice, but I specialized in forensics. And so part of my undergrad was crime scene reconstruction. So I've actually been around a whole lot of actual dead bodies and all of that. And I kind of see the court like that. You have to put the pieces back together. Something was alive. Families, family units, family structures, or people with their loans or their homes. And then my background now is understanding when you come to court, there's a lot of moving parts. It's not one size fits all. So I've got to give the time, the consideration, understand those unique differences, and still apply the law, but also take the extra time. I don't have to do this, but you have a lot of judicial discretion. Where are you going to live after, if the court rules this way? What are your prospects? If somebody is not paying child support, do you have a job? So it's not just, let's just lock that person up. Well, do you have job training? So I come at it from being out there, standing there, not having anything, and saying maybe there needs to be resources. There need to be additional questions and additional ways of looking at things. It's not a one size fit all. You really have to have a background where you encompass the pain of the person, all they're going through, and still apply that law and still try as best as you can to make families whole when they leave. Okay, so,
what are some judges, reflecting back, we got, now that you kind of look up to, that you kind of admire? They can be locally, they can be nationally,
Well, I think it's interesting. Locally, I would definitely say I really do admire a lot of the Jefferson County judges. That's for Bessemer and Birmingham. And if I were to say even more narrowly, I would say Judge Winston, for going through personal challenges and still having court, holding court, and adapting to having to do Zoom hearings, right? In person, not in person, and still keeping the courts moving despite personal challenges, whatever those are. I would also say the same for, I prosecute for municipal court. So I actually really appreciate the judges in municipal court. We've had to move to different locations to have court. Our schedule has been different. We've still met with the inmates. We've still had court because that's so important. So I think I admire that Jefferson County has, and definitely in the leadership of Judge French, has adjusted and adapted to COVID and everything that we've had to overcome. And I think nationally would be Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson for being the first to be nominated for the Supreme Court. To be the first of anything is super scary, but it's absolutely super exciting at the same time. So I just admire somebody that has worked hard and put herself in a position to even be considered for such a high honor.
Okay, and the judges are usually very admired and in very leadership positions in the community. What community organizations have you been a part of?
I've been a part of a lot of, I've worked with restorative justice. They've done different programs and trying to get classes to different people through my Zeta organization. Zeta Phi Beta. So even through we fed the homeless, we go out, we deal with martyrdom. We've done a lot of things that way. And this is not under an organization per se, but because we didn't have anything to eat, I made a vow to God that when we get out of it, I would feed families. So for the last 12 years, I've just done it on my own, where I get people to help me in the community, and we feed families. And last year, for Thanksgiving, I think we fed 5 families. And so I'm getting out there and partnering with different people. I would like to get past sometimes you can take stuff held up in committees, and can we just feed people? Can we just get out there and just get the baskets? I'll put my own money up and said, just partner with me. Let me just do this. I've worked, I think a couple of years ago, in helping some seniors at Bessemer High School with their prom. So we help pay for their prom outfits, their shoes, their outfits. So wherever I can find a way to help is where I just kind of jump in and do it.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a real light questions. Not tough questions, but challenging questions. So what's your hobbies? I know you don't have a lot of hobbies now because you're out here, running for office, but what's some things like you do in spare time?
I love shooting pool. I fished one time. I'd like to go back and try that again. I also like traveling, and before we had the whole COVID thing, I'm an avid movie person. So I love the movies and things like that. But I grew up shooting pool a lot, and so I do like shooting pool.
Okay, so why should voters choose you on May 24th for this position?
Absolutely. I believe that I bring a very unique background to the position. I not only have the educational background, you can look on there and pull up my 14 years. I'm the city prosecutor. I was the first African-American female to be chosen as the president of the Bessemer Bar Association, and at the time I didn't know I was making history. And I think that that's important because I just wanted to serve the attorneys in Bessemer, and I wasn't trying to make history, but I'm glad that hopefully it inspires somebody who hears that. But I bring the education, the background. I'm in this courtroom and dealing with this subject matter anywhere from 2 to 5 days a week, in addition to still prosecuting for the city of Bessemer. And so I've been on the defense side. I've been the person in the courtroom asking the court for help as a homeless mom, a divorced mom. So I believe that I bring the educational background. I have the temperance. I understand people, and I understand how to get along with people. I respect people. I respect the attorneys. I respect the court. I respect the court's time. And it's important to me to have the trust. And so that's why I'm asking people to vote for me, that I really bring a unique combination to be able to do the bench. And I work extremely hard. And I also have one hell of a sense of humor. You can't do this without laughing at yourself. You can't do this without saying, you know what, let's get up, let's stretch, let's get in here, let's do the work, but we can also laugh and make people feel comfortable. So I believe that with my background, even in tax and finance, that I understand the complex issues, but I also understand the simple things of people coming in saying, I need your help. So that's why I'm asking for people to vote for me for this position.
Okay, so where people can find out more about your campaign?
They can go, we have a website, so Alexis, Kathy Alexis for Judge, or Alexis for Judge is going to be the website. We're also on Facebook, Kathy and Alexis for Judge, and we're out in the community. They can also, if they see me and stop me, we have cards, and I'm willing to come and talk with anybody and let them know why they should vote for me.
Well, I'm going to get first name. Well, I can call you now. This Kathy.
Yes.
Probably when I have to call you Judge. Everybody run to friends. I call them Judge, and they want everybody to call them regular name. But I just love when I see them call them Judge. Thank you for coming on today, and especially about your life story, because that was very inspiring, and I feel like through your life experiences that you kind of told, and hopefully the voters will consider you and think about, when they think about going through their choices of who to vote for.
Absolutely.
And everything.
Absolutely.
So Thank you all for watching. Please check out what'shappenedbirmingham.com for more interviews. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm on Apple Podcasts. Thank y'all again. And don't forget to vote on May 24th, 2022. Thank y'all again and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Please check out our website, app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos today.